Alright, filthy casuals, we got a new trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, and I have spent way too much time dissecting it frame by frame, so let's jump right into the analysis right after you like and subscribe. First, we have the sweeping shot over the new Hyrule. Looks awesome. We can see the lights around what is believed to be the replacement for the Sheikah Towers. We also see a long shot of Death Mountain spewing malice from its vent. We see a ton of silhouetted skylands, including one with a Sauron tower. And there is a glimpse of one of those weird ground drawings we keep seeing, but at a terrible angle. Next, we have a closer shot of a bunch of skylands. We see trees, a big rock that maybe has a Korok on it, and one of the new robot enemies fighting a Choo-Choo. There's also one of the weird green spiral rock things in the background. I am not certain, but I think that this is the first time we have seen one on the skylands instead of the surface. The next shot shows us yet another automaton cutting down a tree, so maybe some are friendly, but it could also just be that they will be doing tasks like they are workers, but will attack if you approach. We see Link in mid-skydive, and now we hit a lightning round as he falls. This building looks like some kind of coliseum, maybe a temple or just an overworld boss fight. We also see another green spiral rock thing at a much closer distance, that big cube that is likely a Zonai maze in the background, and we can see a red ring of malice on the surface. There's also one of those ground drawings just peeking out below the island. Throughout this sweeping shot, we see the background change from pointing at the Gerudo Highlands to Death Mountain, then back around to the Highlands. I think this takes place over central Hyrule. For a split second, we see another tower, maybe two, but I am not sure exactly what this other glow is. We see another red ring of malice near Kakariko Village. There's another in the Lanayru wetlands with a tower just south of Eldin Canyon. Here we see both Death Mountain spewing malice and the lifted up Hyrule Castle with malice shooting out from below. Here we have looped back around just shy of where the shot started, pointing to the northernmost part of the Gerudo Highlands. We see a better angle of the ground drawing and two malice circles. Lightning round over, but we do see one more ground drawing basically right below us as the title appears, which seems to be on this island-like thing just west of Dueling Peaks, meaning Link is diving above the southeastern part of Hyrule Field, just north of the Great Plateau. There are towers just north and south of Dueling Peaks, not too far from where the previous tower and a shrine were in Breath of the Wild. The camera pans to show a clearer shot of one of the new towers north of Dueling Peaks, as well as this weird circle thing over near Kakariko Village. We also see a new shrine where the Wago Kata shrine was. You can even see the stable on the edge of the video. So, do these structures also take us underground? If so, where did the Breath of the Wild shrines go? We cut to Link running into Hateno Village, which now has several weird mushroom things. This one almost looks like it could be some kind of kiosk, but the rest just look random. They look like they were made, not grown, so I don't think these are normal mushrooms. We also see a tower on the peak of Mount Lanayru. Based on their placements, I think it makes sense for them to come from the sky, unlike the Sheikah Towers, as some are in places that would interfere with shrines or have to cut through caves. This one would have to do both. Here we see a camp set up in the ruins of Castletown. The background includes Dueling Peaks and the circle over Kakariko, so it is facing southeast, likely to avoid showing the castle up close. This may mean that we are getting new villages popping up around the map now that the Calamity is gone. This is a much closer look at what I'm now dubbing the Stargate over Kakariko, as well as a good shot of the green spiral rock. We also see lots of weird geometric rocks and scaffolding like they are excavating, similar to what we see scattered around the Gerudo Highlands. Maybe the Stargate falls from the sky, breaking off the pieces we see scattered about when it lands. We've also seen these weird dark rocks in a few shots. They remind me of basalt, specifically columnar jointing. This shot is exiting Typhlo Ruins on the western side. You can see the North Lomai Labyrinth, as well as Heber Mountain with the huge spiral cloud we have seen in previous trailers. Then, one of my favorite shots, we have this huge structure rise out of the desert. I was unable to locate where this is exactly, though this kind of looks like the structure in the middle of Arbiter's grounds. Regardless of where it is, I am betting on this being a dungeon. It is huge, looks a bit like a ziggurat, and rises out of the ground dramatically like you are supposed to go to it. The next shot presumably takes place at the same time, or at least we are supposed to think that, and shows Hyrule Castle lifting into the sky. We have seen several shots of this in other trailers, but here we see the Skylands pieces falling as it rises. This proves they take place simultaneously, meaning we may not be going to the sky until after landmarks begin lifting there. This is Ganondorf.
Or is it?
Check out his arm. It looks exactly like Demise's arm in Skyward Sword. It also looks like his cape, which has this line design on it. His hair is also tendril-like, which is more similar to Demise than previous dwarfs, and doesn't look like Dwarf does later. Zelda dies, but we already knew that. The more important thing is seeing Link's hand after he is attacked by Malice, but before he gets his weird hand glowing thing, it looks infected by the Malice, which goes to the original theories people had after the very first trailer and explains the Master Sword, which he was wielding in that hand when attacked. This is in the East Barrens part of the desert near the South Lome Labyrinth, and you can see yet another weird picture. It looks like the Ganondorf depiction we will see later. There's also the spiky rock. I don't know what else to say, it's too blurry to really make out. But we also see huge sinking pits in the sand. I don't know if these are normal traps or maybe entrances to the underground area. Speaking of which, the very next shot is Link running underground toward a big structure that looks similar in construction to the ziggurat we saw in the desert. This appears to either be very deep underground or is below Death Mountain, as there is magma everywhere and Link is wearing his Flamebreaker armor. The rock here is also that red and yellow mixture that we see in and around Death Mountain. I can't see any enemies, but there are a few platforms around it right here. And now we get the ghost ships. I instantly thought of Wind Waker when I saw these, and still do, but I don't think they are connected. First, they look kind of angelic with light colors, and they aren't worn out. Second, there's more than one. I am excited to see where these take us, as I do believe they are friendly and about to take us somewhere. Maybe somewhere we have been before. So now we get our first look at being able to swim in Tears of the Kingdom. I know you could swim on the surface in Breath of the Wild, but this is an actual submerged style of swimming. But can we do it elsewhere or just in these weird water balls? Also, this is, I'm assuming, some kind of gravity device to hold the water in. Reminds me a bit of Mario Galaxy. Extreme skydiving. At first, I thought this might be in the sky sphere we see later, but it is way bigger than that, so I think this is going underground. And it looks like it keeps going for a while. This might be inside of the sky sphere. Sky sphere. With the outer shell rotating around the inner part, and of course, the shell out machine making its debut in the Zelda series. I wonder if this thing launches us or something, and maybe we need to angle the opening to change our trajectory, or maybe it affects the position/state of other Skylands. More dangerous paragliding. This is really narrow and has the same walls as the Lome Labyrinth. We know at least one of them gets lifted, so maybe that reveals more of it. Cool spear. And we get to see more variants of the different mobs. I'm just glad Link wasn't stuck on this elevator with the microwave fish guy in the office. Would have stunk. But seriously, this is a long elevator ride. I wonder if it also takes you underground somewhere? If so, that is a lot of ways to get down there so far. Or maybe this is just to get back up. This is definitely this person in the mural, but who is he? The depiction here looks creepy and evil, and my initial thought was the demon who inhabits the statue in Hateno. I still think this might be the case, despite this image that we will discuss in a second. This is mostly just a pretty shot, but there is a cool tree and a weird tall thing. This is near Stringer Cliffs, as you can see Cape Kales and Ebon Mountain, and you can even peek Eventide Island all the way in the back. I hope this is a boss. It looks amazing and appears to be inside or underground somewhere. Link has some business in the throne room. Question is, will it be Ganondorf, Zelda, one of the mystery people, Bucket Man? Okay, probably isn't him, but I am excited either way. We finally see Zelda not falling to her death. This weird door is opening, and she is being spoken to by a mystery figure we will see in a second, saying Link is the only hope. And here's the Master Sword, perfectly fine. Does it get repaired? Is this before Link gets attacked by Mummydorf and it had just been resting in its pedestal in the forest? I am thinking this is before the attack, unless they decided to sneak in a post-game cutscene, as I think it either won't get fixed or will only be fixed at the very end. Mystery Man. His hand looks a lot like Link's after he gets the glowy thing on it, and the amulet or whatever it is the same material and style as the automatons, but it does look a bit like the Gerudo symbol. We also see our first look at the tears. We see a yellow one on Zelda's necklace and a blue and yellow one on the hand of the mystery figure. Zelda looks up and replies, Link, as if the words of the mystery man made her suddenly remember him. Maybe she has amnesia? I think she either dies or gets gravely injured as she falls, and this is her having been revived, either fully or in spirit only, which would make her becoming the vessel for Hylia more possible, but we will get to that. Here is Link riding one of the new glider things. We also see a floating object that looks like the gyro puzzle we saw him solve in the last trailer. We also get another panning Skyland shot. This looks like another mini dungeon or some other kind of important Skymark. And now for the most broken looking fighting mechanic, item merging. Here Link has merged a sword and shield to allow him to parry despite using a two-handed weapon. Sky Sphere. I already explained what I think is in there, but here's the outside. You can also see clearly that a few of the Skylands have connections to the ground, so maybe that is the long elevator we saw earlier. This rock here is a peak in the north edge of Upland Zorana, so the Sky Sphere appears to be just above or to the north of Zora's domain. You can also pick out East Reservoir Lake and the lake that Vah Ruta swims to, and it's not there, though none of the Sheikah structures are, so not surprising. I am 100% confident in saying this is a fight with a Goron. You can see two young Gorons in the background as a roll attack, and you can see that in the ball form, this looks like a Goron who just has spots on the rocky parts of their back. Is this supposed to be the new champion and we need to convince them to join us by besting them in battle? Like how you have to wrestle the Goron chief to get his help in Twilight Princess? We also see malice-infected rock all over the cave. We know that Gorons eat rock, so what if this one ate some of the infected rock and got infected as well? Or maybe they figured out that the malice rock can provide power somehow and are trying to defend the mine. Lots of ideas. Here we see Tulin bouncing off a large trampoline with Link. Just having fun or launching into battle. Whatever is happening, Tulin seems to look up to Link literally. And we also see the ghost ships again as they launch upward. Is this where the shot earlier took Link to? It appears to be near Hebra due to the weather and Tulin being there. But where's Teba, Tulin's father? Shouldn't he be the new champion for the Rito? Did he get injured or die? Is he the new chief now and decided it was better to stay with his people? If the theory I had about the Goron being infected with malice is true, could he have been infected and Tulin is trying to help Link find a way to save him? I demand answers. Just a peaceful carriage ride. Oh, wait a minute. That carriage was made by Link. Here is a really nice look at the new time reversal mechanic. I love it. And here we see these floating platforms and Link has some low gravity effect going on. We can also see the Sky Cube in the background, as well as those water balls and Death Mountain spewing malice. This appears to be close to where Link was underground before, so likely under Death Mountain, and it is either an ancient or new mining system for the Gorons, as you can see their symbol on the carts, but they are propelled using the new building mechanics fans. There is also this weird egg thing that I don't know what to make of, maybe a boss, looks kind of like a large Goron rolled up. This area in the background looks like the underground area we saw in previous trailers. Forget playing Tears of the Kingdom on your Samsung Smart Fridge because you can now fight the Talus with a refrigerator. But seriously, this shows how customizable the constructs are. Link is driving up top, and has some kind of gyro-controlled or self-aiming arm to joust. Okay, I watched this in slow motion several times to see if the ruby was on the arrow to begin with, and I cannot tell for certain. But either way, it seems we can make fire arrows with rubies. Either we can add them to existing fire arrows to make them stronger, or we can add them to regular arrows to make them fire arrows. I honestly don't know what to make of this. Is it a device Link made? Is it just randomly there? Is it an objective? I hope it's not a common thing, as it seems to take the challenge out of monster camps. Boss time. This guy looks like an ice version of Mulgara from Wind Waker, kind of mixing in aspects of Goma, also from Wind Waker, and Twin Mold from Majora's Mask. And we have Tulin fighting with us. Speculation. We have seen the giant cloud above Hebra Peak. We also see Link and Tulin jumping up on a trampoline near there. And this fight appears to take place inside a tornado, so I think this guy is on the peak of Hebra, or at least in the cloud up there. This portal he appears to come out of may be the cause of the spiral, or may just be using the spiral as a cover for him to come out. This frame of this random explosion just looks like a pretty flower. Zelda says she knows only she can do something. Based on the background, she seems to be on the Great Plateau, and she's holding her tear. Mummydorf appears to be coming back to life here. I think this is immediately before or after Zelda falls, meaning he has broken the roof off the cave he is in and is now launching the Malice into the sky, which then makes monsters, including half Lynel, half Moose. Here is Link being attacked by the Malice, which corrupts both his arm and the Master Sword. And Daddy Dorf is here. Notice his arms look normal, unlike the shot we saw earlier that I believe to be Demise himself, and he doesn't have a cape, and his hair is tied back in a thick ponytail. The headpiece he is wearing contains a tear and appears to be embedded into his head, which makes sense if his body just rehydrated after being mummified for a long time. And now we see an enemy, overworld boss, that appears to be completely formed from Malice itself, but it has the colors more like Naydra instead of the normal Malice. Pretty sure this is a modern version of a Gyorg. This shot is definitely at the fight with the big ice worm boss. You can see the same rocks in the background as well as the cyclone. Hylia is here. I am 90% certain this is Hylia. Specifically, this is Zelda being transformed into Hylia. Why do I think this? 1. It's not Zelda. She looks completely different than we have ever seen her in any game. 2. She's wearing the same clothes and almost identical makeup and has the same yellow tear. I believe the spirit of Hylia and Zelda that has been passed down the family line for generations has awoken fully to defeat Ganon and Demise, who has also returned. Along with her, someone from the Demon Tribe has come to Hyrule to end the cycle of rebirth. At first, I thought maybe they were against each other, but this picture was found on the back of a Tears of the Kingdom digital download code packaging at a store in Japan. If they are enemies, they are way too chummy. Also, her power here is far stronger than any incarnation of Zelda we have ever seen, just absolutely wrecking Moldugas. Riju seems to have developed her own lightning power attack. Hopefully, she doesn't have to let it recharge. Now for the most important part of the whole video.
This is a bucket.
Dear God.
There's more.
No.
Jokes aside, this is huge, as it is shown right before a bunch of sequences of champions and villagers fighting alongside Link. Are we getting group battle mechanics? If so, this is a huge change. Here we have Sidon helping Rex shop against this automaton. Link seems to be in pain, then looks very concerned. Is he about to fight against the champions? I don't think so, but the shots are done in such a way to make us think that. Also, Sidon is wearing a crown exactly like his father's. Did King Dorephan die? And here we have the return of the Gleeok, and it is a fire Gleeok, meaning maybe we get other elemental versions. Zelda holding the Master Sword, but we don't see if it's damaged or not. Maybe she is blessing it, trying to repair the damage. Wait! Editor Octo here. We actually know that the sword is damaged, as more of this shot was shown in a Japan-only commercial. I'll link those below, as there are a few of them. And finally, we have a little bit more of that mural along with the title. This barely extends what we had before, but shows Ganondorf commanding the army of monsters and being the source of the Malice tendrils. This also is the version of Ganondorf that I think looks like the picture on the cliff in the Gerudo Highlands. So to recap, I think this game looks amazing. The visuals are still amazing as in Breath of the Wild, and the new mechanics and areas will be awesome. I think we will see a few deaths of beloved characters. We know Sidon becomes king as we see him wearing a crown identical to Dorephen's, so it is likely that he dies during the game as we also see him without the crown. Teba might also be dead or incapacitated. Zelda might die or give up her spirit or body to become Hylia again. And we also see a lot of references to the end of the cycle. The logos in Ouroboros, characters that look like Demise and Hylia are shown. Zelda wears white like she did in Skyward Sword, and many more. It is likely that the cycle of reincarnation for Link and Ganon and the bloodline of the goddess for Zelda will end here. We know Breath of the Wild was supposed to be so far in the timeline that it, and by extension its sequels, are inevitable in all timelines. Well, eventually, something must break the cycle. But I want to challenge you all. Let me know what you think personally, and what you think of my theories down in the comments. Then, once the game comes out and you play it, come back and tell me how close you were, or how wrong I was. But we all know I'm right. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out this video. I think you'll like it.
Buckets,